Shall we get started? So first, for the next just shy of half an hour, we've got 4 lightning talks up here. The first one is by Charles, and the way these are going to work, we've got 5 minutes each. So I'm just going to set a really annoying alarm, and it's going to count down from 5, and when it's done, we're going to get, let's see, what should we should vote on the room. That's not enough. No. Oh, these are boring. Where's the original one? There's one that sounds like, there we go. So that will sound, and when that sounds, you're done.
Can I have it in front of me so I can see the timing running out?
That sounds like cheating.
Come on.
Nope. I'm going to say no. That sounds too easy. So what's going to happen is I will give you a 5-second countdown, and then you will go, and then that's it. Are we all ready?
Tough crowd.
I know. There we go. We left the tomatoes at home today. So, are you ready?
I'm ready.
Are you ready? Here we go. Starting with Charles. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So, schema.org. How many people have heard of it before or poked at it? Schema.org, it's owned by 4 search engines. Its goal is optimizing search engines, right? We want the search engines to give better information, but it's basically open development in GitHub. You can go in and poke and play, and you should. Schema.org is RDF. If that sounds scary, forget it. Schema.org is tagging. Something, is some kind of something else, or something has a something else. San Francisco 49ers have an athlete, Joe Montana. This idea is not new. It's been around for a couple of decades in the web, so we've been there before. And what do you describe? Stuff that people look for. Places, restaurants, concerts, volcanoes, and their opening hours and fax numbers. So next time the Iceland volcano explodes, we know where to send a fax, we hope. Businesses, documents, sculptures, anything. So take an event like this, and you can all read it, but the computer's got no idea what's really going on. So we tag the pieces. We say, it's an event. It's got a name, a URL, etc., etc. This is RDFA. We can tag the rest of the bits, but we won't. You can also use microdata. Microdata looks the same, but it's a bit crappier, so don't. Unless you're in Russia, where microdata is king for historical reasons. Why? Because standards. Few more examples, actions. People do things. One of the use cases is in your email, you have an HTML email, it's your check-in thing. The button should just pop up on the subject line. You only want to check in, unless you really want to read all the advertising and stuff. So we use it to control actions, to buy stuff. I have some code examples. All of this stuff will be available later, so you can see what they do. You get it. You do the buying, you get a result back. Roles was a thing where we had a little bit of trickiness. The idea is to be as simple as possible, and no simpler. That's how we got to microdata and discovered that it was too simple. When you have an athlete in the 49ers, there are lots of athletes. They're not always in the 49ers. Right? Joe Montana isn't the only quarterback, and he isn't only the 49ers quarterback all his life. So we basically say, well, the 49ers has an athlete, and that athlete is Joe Montana, starting in 1979, and you could add more stuff about him. Same thing applies to actors in a movie, right? Who are the actors? What characters do they play? Bill Murray is not Peter Venkman. Wally Shawn is Vasily, but accessibility, because that's what I always end up talking about. JSON LD, another way of adding the data. When you use microdata or RDFA, you basically tag existing content. It's the don't repeat yourself principle. What you're marking up is stuff people can already read. JSON LD you use for adding things that aren't anywhere in the markup anyway. A key one for accessibility is accessibility hazards. When you all go away, the one thing you have to remember is, I've got to write up my accessibility hazards in my page. You can say this has a flashing hazard. So if you have photosensitive epilepsy, my page flashes, that's going to hurt real people. seriously. That's why accessibility people say don't do that. If you don't have one, say you don't have one, right? Because most stuff doesn't have schema. About a third of the web uses schema, but most stuff doesn't. So if you come to 2/3 of the web and you say, is this dangerous or not? We don't know. If you say whether it is or isn't, you help people. There are some other things. You can describe whether you've got alternative text, whether you've got captions for movies, all of those things. So people can say, you know, I need captions for sound. I don't really care about, you know, text alternatives because I'm looking at the site. I want something accessible to me right now, not something that's perfect and got everything right. There's lots of accessibility features you could add in, but it's a bit broken because it turns out that you go looking for captions, it's like, well, there's lots of things that don't have captions because they don't have any sound to caption. You can use them all if that was your only problem. But the way it's set up at the moment, we don't have any way of describing that. That's work we have to do. When you need high contrast, how much?
And that's it. Oh, you just made it. Brilliant job, Charles. I don't know about the rest of you, but that 5 minutes felt longer than 5 minutes, didn't it? I was kind of thinking that the alarm wasn't going to work. Brilliant. Well done. All right. 1 down, 3 to go. So I don't want to introduce you as EBR76. So, Esther? All right. You're all good to go? Okay, good. So again, the way this is going to go, I'm going to set the alarm. I'm going to give you 5 seconds, and then you'll be ready to go. So talking to us about color scales is Esther. So here we go. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll give you a do-over
Okay.
on that. Yeah, that's not fair. Here we
try
go.
it again.
And go.
Yeah. So my name is Esther Brunner, and I present you a tool to choose related colors to a base color, lighter tints, dimmed tones, and darker shades. And we often use color scales for interaction elements in the user interface, for charts and infographics, for maps, you name it. The way we usually do it, we did use tints, tones and shades from a base color in Photoshop or SAS or whatever. But what is common is that the math involved is usually linear interpolation in the RGB color space. But RGB can be really crappy. Look at this. The lighter tones of this beautiful blue look a bit reddish. It's not of the same hue, it appears to be. Or this red, the lighter tones again turn a bit dirty. Or here it seems that the lighter tones are not as warm as the rest of the colors. So going back to blue, wouldn't we rather have it look like this? Or for the red, maybe it's better like this. Or for yellow, looks much better, doesn't it? So what's the difference? I use an alternative color calculation model. It's based on the CA-CAM 02. It's an international standard by the International Commission on illumination, and it's based on how humans perceive color, not on how screens display color. That's what RGB does. And we use a nice sinoid curve and not just a linear line. I used the JavaScript library Chromatist.js by Jacob Bruce. And here is the tool. I built to visualize these colors. With the arrow keys, you can decrease the lightness, increase the chroma, or with the plus minus keys, change the hue of a color. I click on the color palette in the top right corner, reveals the sidebar for numeric input, and you can also toggle intermediate steps, grayscales, tones and tints and shades as you like. Click on the color swatch, brings up a popover with numeric infos, and also the for accessibility, this is central contrasting colors that meet the success criterion defined in the Web Content Accessibility Guidelines. It's called Colorscales, colorscales.com. It's free to use. Registered users can save public palettes, and it's maintained by Zeiss, a gold sponsor of this conference, and of course we respect your privacy. So go there and register. This is what you can do when to save different palettes for your projects, and a single palette looks like this. Yeah, and so I think that's already all. Yeah.
That's brilliant, with 30 seconds to spare, so fantastic. And there should have been some sort of award for finishing early. We'll think about that. Think about that, staff members.
Yep.
That's cool. I don't know about the rest of you. I already have looked that up and bookmarked it. That is very cool. All right, so 2 down, 2 to go. We're still in time. So this should be interesting. R.I.P, REM, viva CSS pixel. I'm interested. Are you ready?
Hope I don't mess it up, but
How do you pronounce your name?
John.
John.
Yeah.
Oh, that's easy. See, I would have completely screwed this up. This is why I ask people, everyone who's speaking, I ask them, how do you pronounce your name? Because otherwise I would completely screw this up. So John Kuntz?
Yeah, John Kuntz.
Wow, I got it right on the first try with the guess.
Some English speaking they say Kuntz, but it's kind of not how you should pronounce it.
Again, why it's important to ask people. I just lucked out. All right, so are you ready? You know how this works now?
Yes.
Here we go. All right, John.
Okay.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Take it away.
Okay. Hi everybody. Yeah, my name is John Kuntz. I'm a front-end developer at Odd-Even, startup company we started this year. If you want to know more about us, just come to me and ask. Here is a little ad in this presentation. It's not about Chartist, but this is my open source project. It's a charting library responsive. So if you want to contribute, please come to me. Yeah, so this is what the talk is about. This was an image I just produced to provoke a lot in the web because it was a blog post originally. And I just wanted to provoke a little bit to get some attraction. I mean, I would never say RIP and die REM or something, but it was to get some attention. Yeah. So, oops. Is the connection fine?
All right. We will give you back those seconds. Yeah, well, I can.
So where is your timer now?
Just did that.
All right. Yeah, perfect. Okay. Yes, go. Okay. So yeah, let's first talk about pixels a little bit. So pixels, if we look at the CSS spec number 1, actually what surprised me is that pixels are listed as relative units. We all learned pixels are absolute units, right? So why are they listed as relative in the CSS spec 1? And the reason for this is as they describe pixel as relative to the canvas. So it depends on the device how big a pixel is, right? If it's a high resolution device, high DPI device, a pixel might be 6 or 4 physical pixels, right, on the device, or how far the device is away from you. So they came up with this reference pixel. I don't know if you heard it. So the CSS reference pixel, if you read that, it's really like you need to imagine what that actually means. It's like you're an arm away from a display that has 96 dpi, and then it's the angle of your eye viewing at 1 pixel, right? So that's the CSS reference pixel. But it makes a lot of sense because that is actually how you should see things. Because if a display is far away, you should see it scaled up differently, right? So in the browser, since the beginning, there was this reference pixel fixing these issues. So that's a visualization from the W3C, how this actually works. And that's the problem, right? I mean, when devices get, or resolutions get higher and DPI count gets bigger, our user interfaces, they kind of shrink, right? Because then we have only a little bit of pixels there. You remember 11 pixel font size was very nicely readable on these 800, 600 displays. But this is kind of changing. So the CSS reference pixel is fixing that. Okay, let's quickly talk about EM. You all know EM from styling in CSS. And EM actually stands, it's the phonetical representation of the letter M. So the letter M in letterpress, what you can see behind there, is actually some kind of a, they call it quad, right? It's this metal thing. So the letter M is equally high and in height and width, almost. So in typography, they use this as a reference. They could say half a width of a M, actually. So that's where it's coming from. And then in CSS, M is all about your current font size, and then it's relative to that, right? And we all know this. We can style something with M, like padding, also font size of an element here with this BAM notation. And then we have just change on the container, the font size. We can increase the whole size of the content. And then there was REM. And we kind of all got like, okay, use REM. It's the best. It's great for accessibility. Just use it. And use it with pixel fallback, right, for IE8. And we all kind of eat that, like, okay, accessibility, yeah, scalable font, relative font makes sense. And we just did it. So in this talk, I just kind of want to move one step back and look at all the facts that exist today. So these are just two random quotes showing you what we got told, kind of. And that's how we did it, right? This font size 62.5% to get down to 10 pixel, and then you have 1.4 rem for 14 pixel and the fallback. This is what we all did, probably. No? Yeah, or what we shouldn't have been doing, I mean. So yeah, let's talk about zoom, and this is the most important thing in this presentation. So zoom, there is text zoom, right? Where you can go to the browser. That's it? That's not 5 minutes.
Now I'm back on again. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the 30 seconds that Esther got us ahead, and you have 30 seconds to wrap up. That's a MC's prerogative because I'm
Okay.
interested in where you're going, and it's
Okay.
so you have 30 seconds to finish up. So
Right.
choose your words very carefully. 30 seconds, go.
Okay, so here you see text zoom with REM in all the browsers, and you can see it works well with REM, right? So your text is actually getting bigger when you scale it up. It's text zoom, not regular zoom. So if you look at text zoom with static pixels, so you style with really pixels, absolute, right? It's not working, right? But it's not working in almost all the browsers. In Safari, it still works. So Safari kind of just scales up the font size, even if it's pixel, if you change the font size.
That's your 30 seconds. That's all I can give you. I know, it's horrible, isn't it? That's the lightning talk. That's how it goes. But I will say this. I think that during the coffee break, you should set up your slides that you've got. I'm sure you've got them on another computer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're online.
You should go downstairs during the coffee break and kind of anyone who wants to hear the rest of it, I think you should present the rest of it. I'll be there.
Sure, yeah.
It's fun. Thank you. All right, we've got one more. And I just have to say, I've been speaking at conferences and events for about 8 years now, and the idea of I've never done a lightning talk, and the idea of it terrifies me. Like, this is really, really hard what these guys are doing. If any of you haven't done this, I mean, putting your thoughts together in 5 minutes and being concise like that, it is really, really tough. So I'm in awe of all four of you. So we have one more left. Let's make sure his mic is working.
Yeah.
All right, Mark is our fourth and final lightning talk. And I'm not kidding. I will actually be down there. I expect you to be set up with your laptop so I can finish finding out where you were going. So our last talk, are you ready?
Yeah.
You know how this is going to go?
Yeah.
Yep. Are you terrified yet?
Yes.
Okay, good. That means you'll be fine. All right, so here we go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
So hi everyone, I'm just here to talk about a tool we built to build style guides. Maybe you remember if you were last year, I'm a fanatic of guidelines and style guides, and you should use them to every project. I will put the slide online so you could go to the video, or you can, if you want to know more about myself, you can still watch this talk. We're working with style guides for like now 2.5 years or 3 years, and we kind of translate and like enhance our tools to build them like by default. We end up building the one for the Swiss government, and some random people seems to like it. Then it comes to this tool that we built at the beginning of this year. It's a generator. Vasilis will tell that's good, because it's for lazy people. So you don't have to take Fabricator, your SAS, compilator, browser, sync, and everything. You just type yo toolbox, and it's there. Everything is here. So we built this toolbox with that in mind, with the atomic component way of thinking the design directly in the core of this tool. It's really style guide oriented. You just do gulp deploy, and bam, you have the style guide online on GitHub. It's based on gulp, maybe you know. There's also a test environment with Casper.js. So you can set regression testing. You say like, oh, when the design breaks, it gives you some alerts. And there's also sub-generators. So the way you set up this, oh, font is too big. Oh, gonna change it. So you install the generator, you just type yo toolbox, and it will take a lot of time to the npm install and everything. But then it's really easy to work. You just type yo toolbox component, and we'll ask you like what kind of component you want to build. Is it an atom, a molecule, or an organism, or a template? Are you familiar with this atomic design? I think so. I hope so. So you say, I want an atom, and you say like, what's the name of the component, and it will automatically create a handlebar file and also the SCSS file. And this is the result. It's Fabricator. So we didn't build every tool. We just took ones that are working well for us, and we just created the generator to set up it really quickly. And it's open source, and I'm sure you will remember the address because it's frontend/toolbox. And we really waiting for like pull requests or if you want to contribute or if you want to add other tools there, you're really welcome. Here it is.
Well done. Good Lord, a minute and a half left. All right, so optimization there. No, well done. That's great. Okay, so we've got only a handful of minutes to set up for the next talk, and if you want to switch rooms at all, now's your chance, but go quickly. If you're staying put, actually now would be a good time. If you are staying put, do move in, because I see a bunch of people standing at the door who want to come in, and we do have that same problem where it's tough to get through the rows. So if you're at that end of the row, just kind of move in and make sure there's room for everyone at the door.